effort then of the rally rider out of the saddle. Scully once again beginning to fan the flames. He's pouring on the coals. Oh, look at this good crash. And the field absolutely drilling it round this circuit. Oh, he was so close.
The 2015 Tour Series began in rather less than hospitable conditions in the seaside town of Ryde on the Isle of Wight. With new teams in the shape of Wiggins and One Pro Cycling, a new format and a new circuit, it was anyone's guess who would emerge at the front on the day. The double-header saw the day begin with a team time trial consisting of 2 laps of the Ryde circuit, and it was the newcomers Matt Pryor's One Pro Cycling that stole the honours, and with it, the red and white series leaders jersey.
Oh, there it is. Well, look at that. 3:44.504. That's over 4 seconds quicker than Madison Genesis.
On to the main event, and with a new results system based on the overall time of each team, the onus was firmly placed on sticking together. Madison Genesis's Tom Stewart kept out front for much of the race, and in doing so swept up the intermediate sprints to claim the Chain Reaction Cycles points jersey.
5 more points in the bag.
But it was the other Tom, teammate and Commonwealth Games champion Tom Scully, who eventually reeled him in and then attacked himself, riding away for the individual win. And the chasers never saw him again, the following pack now heavily splintered behind him. It was a determined and organised One Pro Cycling who kept themselves together and took the overall team prize on the night with the lowest race time overall. So then, One Pro sit at the top of the table ahead of Madison Genesis, and a great effort from NFTO to see them equal on points with Rally. Team Wiggins not having the greatest starts to their Tour Series career.
Hello and welcome. From the unknown quantity of the Isle of Wight, the Tour Series has returned already to the comforting embrace of an old familiar friend. For the 4th time of asking, we're in Redditch, where already the question is asking itself, who can respond to the challenge of the series leaders, One Pro Cycling? When you've got a blank sheet of paper as you had here and you're recruiting riders from scratch, was it with this series in mind primarily that riders were brought on board?
Yes and no. You know, you can't really base a whole season around one series. We've definitely focused on building a very balanced team. So we've got, you know, good sprinters, good climbers, a couple of good time trial guys, and that's been important because if you are going to set your sprinters up, you need people who've got good 5-minute and 10-minute power who can do good times in time trials. And then, as you know, as other races will dictate, you need guys who can get over the climbs. And you know, they're not long climbs in this country, but they definitely are more than, you know, flat. So you have to have guys who've got good power to weight, and that's what we've done with this team.
Why did you end up here? What persuaded you to join this team?
First of all, One Pro Cycling is a great team. To me, in my book, at this moment in cycling in general, continental level, GB is the place to be at the moment. The whole setup, the whole professionalism in it, you don't see something like this anywhere else in the world at continental level. It's really impressive.
And you've ridden for goodness knows how many different teams down the years in the UK. Does this feel like a completely different proposition?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. It's brand new. As you can see behind me, you know, we've got a brand new bus, all designed, the logo, the name, the bikes, everything is, you know, been very, very purposefully picked and put together. You know, I actually do believe this team, you know, with a couple of 1 or 2 extra signings, could easily be a European Tour continental team. You know, we didn't disgrace ourselves at the Tour of Yorkshire. We will have hopefully another good ride at both the Ride London and the Tour of Britain. And if you put a couple of big names in there, then this team is solid. You know, it's got no weak links kind of thing, and that is a very, you know, very purposeful choice and design.
So you guys have really set the early benchmark here, but like what happened when the Tour Series first came into existence, other teams learn pretty fast, don't they? And you might have set a pattern that they're going to replicate now.
Exactly, yeah. It doesn't take long to cotton on, and then you've got a few days in between the events to work out how you're going to attack the next one. It's going to be interesting tonight, especially on this circuit. Traditionally, it's been one from a break, I think. Actually, 2 solo riders the last 2 times I can remember. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a hard one to control.
So there we are, One Pro Cycling, very much the team of the Isle of Wight, winning the team time trial and the first round of the Tour Series. And a key member of their outfit has been good enough to join us to talk us through it. John, you had a terrific Tour Series last year as an individual, but as a team it looks like you are absolutely flying already.
I think that first round, we nailed that one round. So, like I said, it's a long series and we never know what's going to crop up and put you on the back foot. So if we can carry on like we did, then we're going to be really happy with that. So,
well, the problem is for you lot is that the secret's out now, because you rode that tactically so well, staying together as a bunch of five, that the other teams will have looked at possibly what they did wrong and think, well, actually that's the model we've got to use as well.
That's the thing now, it's all 5 riders that count, so it is really a team game. You need to make sure all 5 of you are there, and to be honest, when you're looking back over your shoulder, you're only looking for 2 guys before, and you look in the bunch, see 2 of them, but now it's you keep looking up, and then there's your 5th guy. So no, it's a different aspect, it's a different way of racing than what normally we're used to, so just to get it nailed like we did, and hopefully we just keep on repeating that.
Now listen, you came out with a great statistic just before we were chatting here. You said in all the Tour Series races you've ever done, you've never once not been on the podium in one guise or another. So you're gonna want to continue that, aren't you?
I know, I've cropped up telling everyone about that. I've put a bit more pressure on myself. But no, since 2013 I was with UK Youth and we won the overall in the team every night, and then of course last year won the first round and then held on to the points jersey for the rest of the series. So it's been a nice little touch winding up the boys back in the camper van. When George Harper was saying this is my first ever Tour Series podium, and I kind of worked it out in my head and thought, I've never not been on it, so which he loved, and he was quite happy about it that he's now on the way to making the same as me.
Absolutely. Well, one of the most difficult places to get yourself a win, or indeed on the podium at all, is this attritional circuit we're visiting for the 4th time here in Redditch. The Redditch circuit is loved by some, feared by others, as it drops away left-handed from the start-finish line through a kink in the road. After that, there's a dead turn onto a long drag, steepening all the while until the run into the finishing straight. Special attention should be paid to the tricky, fast left-hander at the bottom of Prospect Hill. The rolling countryside to the south of Birmingham, as Warwickshire and Worcestershire meet one another, is a hidden gem. Its towns and villages hiding away behind green and pleasant hills. The landscape is crisscrossed with country lanes and designated cycle routes, perfect for a testing run or simply for a breath of fresh air. Redditch itself has a welcoming, homely town centre with plenty of everything to cater for most tastes. Well, that's what Redditch might look like to you and me, just watching on, but what does it look like to actually ride, John? Because that drag must be sapping every time you come round.
It is a really tough circuit. It's the dead corner at the bottom that really gets you. You look at last week in Isle of Wight, it was more of a flowing bend and you hit the climb with a bit more speed, but with this one you're pretty much at a dead turn and then you hit it and you're either clunking the gears to get into an easier one, or you're dropping on the little ring and you're missing your little ring. So there's a lot more to think about, and over the hour it does test the legs quite a lot.
And last year it looked like you could almost win every round with one leg, but you came a bit unstuck here, didn't you, last time?
Yeah, we had a bit of a crash with a lap to go, so it was where my good mate Sam Harrison went down and I went over the top of him, so we had a bit of a roll round and dust yourself off and get back up and ride up to the finish and see who won, so hopefully a bit better this time.
All right, good luck. You've got a couple of hours for your race. The women haven't though. It's the Matrix Fitness Grand Prix Series Round 1, and here are your runners and riders. Danny, in your case, it's welcome back to this series, isn't it? Because it's been a good few years since you've taken part.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the car. I think the last time I rode was either 2010 or 11, so yeah, it has been a while.
I should imagine you'll realise that it's gone up a notch or two.
Oh yeah, definitely, even with the number of starters today, you know, when I was signing on, something like 80 people on the sign-on start sheet, so it's amazing to see the growth in women's cycling in this country.
The standard of the women's racing is just phenomenal really, and it deserves its own series in its own right, so I think that's where the girls are looking to push it, and the more of us that turn up to race these sort of races, the more we're sort of knocking on the organisers' door going, yep, give us one in our own right, we're here, we're ready, we're raring to go, and we're going to do some exciting racing.
What do you make of it tonight then?
Well, it's my first ever one. I'm really looking forward to it. Like, the circuit's not really like a town centre circuit. It's not like a traditional crit. It's got a hill over the back, so that can make the race quite hard. So I'm looking forward to see how it pans out.
And in Danny King riding as well, you've got someone who you've ridden with on so many occasions. I think it's the first time you lined up against her.
First time in a long time, and she's looking fit as well. Ever since turning to the road, she's been looking seriously good. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there we go then. That's just about as strong a field as anyone could possibly have wished for to get the women's series underway. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Lucy Martin, who, Lucy, you're riding this for the first time.
Yep.
So I can't ask you how it went last time out, but you've had a little look around the circuit, and it's it's one of the most brutal on the whole series, isn't it, because of that drag?
Yeah, that's what I've heard of everybody who raced it last year. Like they said, this one's probably the hardest. The drag, the corners, probably the weather tonight's going to make it a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, interesting. Sunshine and hail showers and a lot of wind, isn't there? But
yeah.
What are your ambitions as a team and as an individual? Because it's a stellar cast, isn't it, lining up tonight?
Yeah, we've got individual goals, but mainly team goals. We've got such a strong team here. We've got Laura Trott, Eleanor Barker, Lucy Shaw, who's local, so it's really important for us this race, and especially because it starts it all off.
And there's a lot rightly written and talked about women's cycling and the way forward and how it's going to grow as a sport. Obviously, we've got the women's tour coming up in a few weeks. Where does this fit in, and where should this series sort of belong in that jigsaw?
Well, this is a really important part of it, really. Women's cycling in Great Britain, it's just taken off over the years, and to be able to come and have this series alongside the men on TV, everything, it's so important for women's cycling, and it just really shows how the sport is growing.
Well, listen, Lucy, I'm going to wish you all the best, and thanks for coming and joining us. You're nice and warmly wrapped up now, but I suspect you're going to be shivering on the start line fairly soon. Good luck with that.
Okay,
you at home, go and get yourselves a cup of tea, and when we come back from a break, we'll watch the women's race. Welcome back to Redditch, where the stellar field has massed at the start of the first of 5 races in the Matrix Fitness Grand Prix series. Let's get over to Hugh Porter and Brian Smith.
And here are the field all together. Danny King right in the middle of the picture, and the roads are wet due to an early shower, so vigilance is going to be the order of the day. Turning left here then into Unicorn Hill. Oh, look at this, fallers sliding all over the place. Well, who was the one that caused that? It looked very much to me as though it was Manon Lloyd that slid away, and also Danny King. Well, she went straight into the fence.
That was just unfortunate there. Both Team USN riders, Lloyd and Kay, just sliding out in this corner. Just see there the Aspire rider 111 just falling over ever so slightly. But Danny King touched the barrier. She looks okay. She's up and going, and she'll make her way back to the front of this race.
But right on the front now is Katie Archibald, who rides for Perlazumi Sports Tours, the international who was a World Team Pursuit champion and world record holder. And actually, she won round 1 in Stoke-on-Trent last year.
Yeah, looked as if there was 4 riders there. Archibald at the front, Nikki Juniper in second place, Danny King in third for Wiggle Honda. Just at the back, Laura Trott as we hear the klaxon.
And that's a good effort then by Danny King. Remember, she was delayed with the crash, but she's dismissed that problem, and now she's right up in the mix at the front of the contest.
So through the chicane and on to the sprint lap. It's still the Scottish girl, Archibald at the front, just going round that corner ever so gingerly. Gaps starting to appear in the peloton now as the pressure is applied by Archibald.
Right in the wheel of Archibald is Nikki Juniper, who had the biggest win of her career last year when she won the London Nocturne. Well, this is quite a group of the heads of state here. Laura Trott is there on the extreme right in the wheel of Danny King, and they're getting themselves organised ready for the sprint. Eleanor Barker's there, the teammate of Trott. Well, nobody keen to really try and jump away here to try and score the 5 points. So it's going to favour, I would have thought, the rider with the track sprint.
Yeah, the pace is eased. You can just see the bunching up of the riders. They're starting to look around. We've had an attack in the left-hand side. They're one of the riders just clipping down the road. And this is actually Jessie Walker, the daughter of Chris Walker, who won the milk race back in the 90s for RST.
So Jessie's doing what her father Chris used to do, and that really is an ideal way to catch the heads of state napping. She's gone clear and can find the good line. Walker has distanced herself off the front end of the small peloton,